All right, everybody, welcome into the high noon edition of Pugs and Company, the first of two streams that we do every day. Not every day, but you know what I'm saying, just about every day. Here at the Radio Misfits podcast and streaming network. Hi, I'm Pugs Moran. Nice to meet you. Here's the thing. We're going to give this a shot today. Why is the camera seems out of whack? Seems like there's way too much. We're just going to deal with it. I'm not going to be distracted by that. I'm not going to be distracted by the fact that I've got poor camera placement. Looks like there's way too much. There's too much between here and here. Here you go. Yeah, Byron, I wanted to drunkenly bitch about the Cowboys last night. Today, not so much, he says. Here's the problem. If you were listening... I gotta stop doing that. These fillers, these involuntary noises that I make to fill time because I'm terrified of dead air. I gotta stop that. It's about discipline. Speaking of the Cowboys, so if you were listening to the show on Friday, the high noon show, we got bumped off the air in like the last 5 minutes. Guys, the internet has been sketchy all weekend. And last night, the internet was out for, I was hotspotting. I had to hotspot to watch the game. The internet was down. It was down for like an hour and a half. I rebooted everything. And that was probably around 6 o'clock, 5:30, something like that. It started to go out. There was also some slight issues on Saturday with the internet up in here. But it started Friday. It started Friday when we got knocked off the air. And it has been sketchy all weekend long. Now, I've rebooted everything. So we're going to give this a shot. I'm thinking it looks good. I got good power. I seem to have all the the little bars you get. I got full bars. Everything seems good. So we're going to move forward with it. But yeah, that's the reason why we wanted to, God, we were all ready to do. James and I had a cowboy takedown show planned for y'all last night, but I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be getting 10 minutes into it and then everything freezes up and then we get knocked off. And then I don't know how long. This is the problem when we get knocked off the air. I just keep going. And I don't know how long we've been off the air until I just happen to glance over and see that we're knocked off the air. And it's like, geez, how long have we been off the air? How long? So we decided we're going to do it tonight. We're going to come back tonight. This was going to be the test show to see if, the internet is working good. So far, so good. Very happy. And so that's the deal. That's the deal with the shows. We do this show, the high noon show. We do this every Monday through Friday from noon till about 2 o'clock. Then we double back and we do a Pillow Talk edition. That comes out at 9 p.m. all time Central because Central is the only proper time. The 9 p.m. show is, we promise you at least an hour. Sometimes it goes longer. We aim for it to go longer, but we'll give you at least an hour on the Pillow Talk show. No! And I got a dog that is just being terrible. Lay down! Seriously. You are working my last nerve, girl. No, don't come over here. You don't speak English anyway. You don't know what I'm saying. You get tone. So here's the tone. That means as much as if I was to say, go lay down. Okay, now you just... No! We'll get it started. I promise you. No. Go lay down. Nobody wants to see you. You have no opinions. You're a dog. And there she goes with her head down. She goes right back into the bedroom. Yeah, she's terrible. She's also good at times. All right, the high noon show. What do we do here? Well, we like to go through all the things that are trending, all the things that people are talking about. Now, it's going to be a weird show because I know we're out of, people typically like to listen maybe at work. They're in their rut, if you will. Today, people are out of their rut. Today, people are doing other things. So I don't know how great a show this is going to be, but there are still things trending. Although not a whole lot of great stuff because it's MLK Day. That's, there's a lot of basketball trending. There's a lot of people talking about the weekend's football games, and we're not a sports show. We'll do a little bit more of that tonight during Pillow Talk. But there is enough, I think, to get a full show in. So we'll see. Again, though, a full show, I don't know. I don't know if we'll go to. I don't know if I got 2 hours of content here. I've been up since 8:30 in the morning. Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you what. My text messages started going crazy at about 8:30 this morning. Bring. Everybody, all my friends back home. bring, and we'll talk about that. So a lot of this morning's prep time was taken up dealing with and absorbing this other piece of news that is actually trending. So we'll tell you about it. We'll do that. This show is about that. Trending topics, current events, everything that you need to know to get through the day. But first, we'd like to start out by telling you, actually, you know what? I could use a moment of joy. I could start out with a moment of joy. Let's do that first. Let's make sure that everybody gets themselves in a nice little mood before we delve into what this day is all about. And let me tell you. Okay, so I love it. It's a little kid. This little kid here. I'll make it big for you. Little kid got into something. What is this? All right, so first of all, okay, I don't know what's cuter, the kid or the little puppy. Look at the puppy that's on top of those plastic racks. Is it sharing? Pugs, it's not sharing. It is sharing. Okay, very good. Look at the little puppy. All right, so the kid, the kid found himself what appears to be a box of baby powder. He's been playing with the baby powder. And now mom walks in, and I can barely understand anything the mom is saying. But that doesn't matter. You don't have to know what the words are. Just look at the kid. The kid found the baby powder. He covered the little puppy in baby powder, and now he's got to deal with mom. Here we go. I love this. This is a moment.
No. Yeah. What is this, no? Bro. Then you got the dog involved. What is going on over here? Get that dog down. Italy.
He's like, nope, that's my dog.
Didn't I take it from you earlier? Wow.
He's got it right there. He's like, look.
What is this, dude?
He closes out by pouring some powder in his hand and just blowing it at his mom's face. This kid is awesome.
What is going on over here?
He don't care. He's having fun.
Get that dog down.
Nope, not gonna do it, Mom.
Italy.
Nope.
Why did you do that? Didn't I take it from you earlier?
Come on, Mom, lighten up. We're throwing a powder party.
Wow.
Here it is. Here's the move. He's putting it in his hand. Come on. All right, there's your moment of joy. That's how we get started. That kid was cute. You can't tell me any different. This baby powder clip and the squirrel clip is the only thing I found enjoyable while watching Cowboys game. Yeah, the squirrel clip. Thank you for bringing up the squirrel clip, April. That'll be our moment of joy tonight. I had the two. And besides, I think it's been the nighttime pillow talk show where I've made public my disdain for squirrels. I hate squirrels, so I figured it was more appropriate there. Okay, so let's talk about today. What is today? Well, today is January the 17th. It is it's the 17th day of the year. See, I was kidding there. I didn't really have to. I was just playing dumb. 348 days remain until the end of the year. Or I guess 349 if we're counting leap year, which I don't know that we do that around here. What happened on this day? On this day in 1920, pour yourself a cocktail, because on this day in 1920, alcohol prohibition began in the United States as the Volstead Act goes into effect. Prohibition. Try and wrap your mind. We can't get people to wear masks. Imagine trying to take away booze from people. I don't think so. What were they thinking? And it wasn't just like, okay, we tried it for a year. 13 years alcohol was illegal in this country. 1933 is when they repealed it. 13 years, which of course gave rise to booze cartels. Yeah, the underground booze market made billionaires in the time of Al Capone for one, but moonshiners, and that's when all the cool stills started getting built, and the border wars with Canada because they bring in the Canadian whiskey and the mobsters would take. Oh boy, what an interesting time. Bad, stupid, dumb concept. You can't take booze away from people. It's been legal for 1 billion years. You can't just suddenly say, can't drink anymore. My grandma used to tell me stories about how when she was a little kid, they used to make bathtub gin and then they'd sell it. Bathtub gin. How? Oh, what do you mean? Oh, God. It's like prison. It's like people are boiling up their deodorant, drinking the alcohol that comes out. This day, 1920, alcohol prohibition began in the United States. 1991, another big day. Not a whole lot happened, I guess, in the 70 years between 1920 and 1991, 71 years. On this day in 1991, the Gulf War Operation Desert Storm began. Started in the early morning hours as aircraft strike positions across Iraq. It's also the first major combat sortie for the F-117, or F-117. One United States Hornet was shot down by a MiG-25, and it's the first American casualty of the war. Iraq on this day also fired 8 Scud missiles. Remember Scuds? Remember that? Scuds. Iraq fired 8 Scud missiles into Israel in an unsuccessful bid to provoke Israeli retaliation. All right, 1991. 1994, on this day, another big day, the Northridge earthquake in California. Remember that one? That was a big one. 6.7 Northridge earthquake shakes the greater Los Angeles area with a maximum intensity. I don't know what that means. It's some like earthquake thing. 57 people were killed in it, and more than 8,700 other people were injured. 1994, the Northridge earthquake. Also on this day in 1998, boy, I remember this specifically. I was working in radio, and this wasn't a big website, but this was sort of like a fringe news aggregator website talking about the Drudge Report in 1988. On this day in 1998. On this day in 1998, the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal began when Matt Drudge broke the news and posted about it for the very first time on the Drudge Report. That's the story that made the Drudge Report a thing. Like I said, it was just basically a fringe thing. It wasn't really, we looked at it because we would look for news stories and all, and it was one of the early places to find news stories, but the general public were not looking at the Drudge Report the way that they would in years to come. I don't know if people still do. I glance at it from time to time. It's a news aggregator. I found that there are better news aggregator sites out there than that. But man made an icon of Matt Drudge, huh? There you go. So it was on this day the Lewinsky scandal broke. Let's see here. Oh, and on this day in 2017, they called off the search for the Malaysian Airlines flight. Remember the missing Malaysian Airlines flight? Yeah, they stopped looking today in 2017. They're like, yeah, pretty sure we ain't going to find it. Which I found completely incomprehensible that a passenger airplane could just go missing anywhere on the globe with all the satellites, with all the tracking, with all of that stuff. The very idea that a plane could just go missing, man, that was crazy. And on this day, they stopped looking. On this day, they admitted, it's gone. It is gone. April says the show American Crime Story Impeachment had a whole segment showing Drudge Report's origin. He worked on the CBS lot and would dig through the trash for printed emails, faxes to post. Yeah, April, I tried to watch American Crime Story Impeachment, and I didn't like it. I don't know if it wasn't good. I found the girl who played Monica Lewinsky interesting. That's Jonah Hill's sister. I thought that she was good, but I don't know. I think I'm just done with that story. I think I just don't care. I think that we have moved so far to an extreme of that kind of political reporting and that kind of political muckraking that story almost seems silly. At this point, I'm like, I don't care. Excuse me. No plane crashes today. That's, it's another weird one. At least there are none of note that are being listed in the World Plane Crash Registry. Nothing worth mentioning. Let's see here. Birthdays. We do have some birthdays. Typically, I don't do this, but today would have been Betty White's 100th birthday. Born on this day, 1922. Betty White. She didn't make 100. She made like 99 and 350 days or something like that. Yeah. Born on this day, still alive, though, James Earl Jones. Darth Vader, among them. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. But for a generation of kids, he's Darth Vader. He's the voice of Darth Vader. James Earl Jones, born on this day in 1931. Also born on this day in 1942, no longer with us, Mike Tyson. I'm sorry, that's a story that's going on. Not Mike Tyson. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, American boxer and activist, born on this day in 1942 and died in 2016. Born on this day in 1955, another cool-ass American, Steve Earl. Steve Earl's birthday, American singer, songwriter, musician, record producer, author, actor. Steve Earl, man, that guy's cool. If you're unfamiliar, delve into his catalog. 1959, excuse me, born on this day, Susanna Hoff of the Bengals. Just another manic Monday. Susanna Hoff. For an entire generation of boys of my age. Woo! She was a cutie, wasn't she? Walk like an Egyptian. Man, Susanna Hoff's born on this date. I wonder what she looks like now. I wonder if she's holding together. Well, she's so cute. She's probably still cute. She's probably got that like Marissa Tomei magic, where she just doesn't. She's still looking really cute. By the way, Marissa Tomei, she plays the ant in Spider-Man. God, she's cute. Oh my God, Marissa Tomei, still adorable. Here's hoping Susanna Hoff is the same way. Born on this day in 1962, a guy who's sort of fallen off, right? Well, we don't see much of him anymore. Jim Carrey. He was once like the biggest movie star in the world. Jim Carrey, born on this day in 1962, still alive, still apparently doing stuff. Happy birthday, Jim Carrey. Born on this day in 1964, Michelle Obama. It's Michelle Obama's birthday. American lawyer, activist, 46th First Lady of the United States. How do I say this? She's a good-looking woman. Do you remember? Do you remember? Like, no, you're not racist at all. You're just saying that the first lady looks like a monkey. You remember those things? Well, she looks like Michelle Obama is a good-looking woman, man. I'm telling you, she's classy, she's smart, sexy. Yeah, don't at me. I'm standing by that. I like Michelle Obama. I mean, I like her. I like Michelle Obama. We'll leave it at that. Let's see here. Oh, two people who will probably not be celebrating their birthdays together. Kid Rock, born on this day in 1971. Kid Rock, American singer, songwriter, producer, actor, really? I thought it was funny in the Netflix film, the Adam McKay film, Don't Look Up, about the asteroid that's coming to kill Earth, the Earth killer asteroid. And the government at the time is trying to convince people, just don't look up in the sky, just pretend it's not happening. When, it's inevitable that this thing is going to destroy all life on Earth. And spoiler alert. I'll give you 5 minutes because I'm going to make a Kid Rock reference. Spoiler alert. 1, 2, come back in 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now go, come back in 10 seconds if you don't want it spoiled. I thought it was funny in Don't Look Up that of the people who were picked to be saved and brought to another planet at the end of the movie, one was Kid Rock. He gets off the plane. I thought that was funny. Happy birthday, Kid Rock. Boy, another American ne'er-do-well celebrating a birthday today. He's also trending. We'll talk about why he's trending. It's not because of his birthday. Born on this day in 1997, Jake Paul. Woo! American YouTube personality, actor, rapper, and professional boxer. I don't know. Says that. I don't know if we're gonna go with that, but okay. We'll talk about why he's trending later. That dude, I find it's not worth my time to figure out the difference between Jake and Logan Paul. They're I don't know which is which. I don't know. They're both, Look, they did it. They were on the ground floor. They were little YouTube nerds. Now they're worth like millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. They seem like assholes to me, but I'm not of that generation. I don't know. I know that my 12-year-old also thinks that they're assholes, so that's good. So maybe that's something. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, those are the birthdays today. It almost seems like a crime that a clown like Jake Paul would share a birthday with Betty White, but here we are. Also, Dwayne Wade's birthday. Happy birthday, Dwayne Wade. What is today the day of? Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That's why nobody's at work. That's why kids are out of school. Happy Martin Luther King Day. National Bootleggers Day. It is National Bootleggers Day. Why? Because I'm guessing this is the prohibition went into effect. National Bootleggers Day, and it's National Hot Buttered Rum Day. Ugh, does that sound terrible? First of all, rum is terrible. Butter is delicious, but I do not see how butter could make rum any less objectionable. Pugs, what are you talking about? Rum is delicious. No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh my God. I can't. I can't even think about alcohol. I went out on Saturday night for the first time in, oh my God, a very, very long time. We went out and watched the Buffalo Bills game, watched the end of the Raiders-Bengals game, and then we watched the Buffalo Bills game, the absolute destruction. And oh my God, did we get hammered on Saturday night? Good Lord. Yesterday was just a mess for me until about 6 o'clock. My body isn't used to it. I've been dieting, I've been running, I've been eating healthy. And then on Saturday night, I just put a whole bunch of whiskey into my system and a whole bunch of beers. And oh my God, did I feel like trash. I don't know, that's why I don't drink. That's why I am not going to go out and ever drink again. We may have to go out and watch another Bills game next week. We may have to go out and watch another Bills game the week after that. And we may have to go out and watch a Super Bowl Bills game. I don't know. But I do know that I've gotten all my hard drinking out of the way for the next couple of months. I will sip on a beer and I will enjoy the ambiance. Went to Heroes Sports Bar. Nice place, big place down there in Victory Plaza, right next to the American Airlines Center. Just I forgot what bars looked. That was the first time I was in like a crowded bar for a big event, and yeah, big super spreader, to be sure. I mean, nobody was wearing masks except for the workers. I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, man, I'm triple vaxxed. I'm boosted. I had a mask in my pocket, didn't use it. Doesn't do you any good in the pocket. No, I know, but I didn't want to inflame any situations. All I know is that I drank way too much on Saturday night, and I am not destroyed my diet yesterday, because when you're hungover, there is no way that a salad and maybe some tuna fish is going to do the trick. Yesterday I had, oh God, I woke up, went to McDonald's, and I had a Big Mac and a quarter pounder with cheese and a large fry. I needed it. I needed all of this grease inside of me. I needed something to make me feel better. Then I got myself 2 big bottles of Gatorade, and I chugged 2 giant bottles of Gatorade, all while fisting ibuprofen for what I didn't really have a headache so much as just I felt like garbage. Like my body was just ugh. And then later that night, I still wasn't feeling great. So I went and ate an entire Little Caesars pizza. That's right. I'm a Little Caesars eating guy now. I love their thin crust pizza. I will admit I was wrong about Little Caesars. Their thin crust is, the crust is good. The sauce is trash. The cheese is garbage. But the crust, at least that's right. And if you just stick to the pepperoni, then you don't get completely bummed out by, the fact that their sausage is terrible. But a thin crust pepperoni from Little Caesars, woo, that hit the shot. That hit the spot. It did. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was someplace with decent pizza on every corner, I probably would never go to Little Caesars. But, any port in a storm, I guess. And I inhaled it. I just inhaled that whole damn thing. Unbelievable deal, too. It was like $6.99, $7.99, something like that. How can they sell pizzas so cheap? Well, actually, I know how they can sell pizzas so cheap, because if you sell a whole lot of pizzas that cheaply, then you make up the money on the back end, because the margins on pizza is ridiculous. Thin crust pizza, you can make an entire thin crust pizza that'll blow your doors off for under $4. You can. You really can. And then most pizza places that aren't named Domino's, Little Caesars, or Papa John's, like real mom and pop places, they'll sell you that pizza for like $15. Think of the margins. Pizza. There's money to be made in pizza, I'm telling you. But places like Little Caesars, they figured out that, we're going to sell 1,000 pizzas tonight, so we can cut the margin down to like $2 or $3, and we can sell them for $7. All right, let's see what's trending today. Let's get into this. Let's get into what is trending. All right, so I mentioned that I woke up this morning very early. I was woken up at 8:30 in the morning by everybody, just blowing up my Twitter, friends calling, hey, what do you know? I'm like, I don't know. And it's trending. I'm so happy to see this trending. I mean, I'm so sad about why it's trending, but I'm happy to see it trending. nationally on all platforms. This guy is getting love from every corner of the sports world. A guy by the name of Les Grobstein died today or yesterday over the weekend. Now, we were just talking about Les Grobstein 3 nights ago on this show. Tom Bellert joined me, and I was talking about the best time in my radio history was when I was doing overnight radio, how I just love the whole vibe of overnight radio. It's like the greatest thing. And then we started talking about how it doesn't really exist anymore. There is no such thing as live and local overnight sports radio. You tune in at 3:30 in the morning and you've got somebody there in your town doing a live talk show. And I had talked about how the only person that I knew who was still doing that was Les Grobstein at the Score in Chicago. Les Grobstein is a Chicago sports icon. He has been involved in Chicago sports in one way or another for 50, 60 years. He was 69 years old. Yeah, Tom, you didn't know that? Tom Beller in the chat room. Les Grobstein was found dead this weekend at his house. And Tom and I were just talking about it on the Pillow Talk edition of the show. So I knew Les. I knew Les. I knew Les well. I knew Les better 25 years ago, right? When I was just a producer and we worked at the same station together, and Les was the sports director at the station I was at. Like had a house party once, and Les came. I thought that was so cool. all my friends are like, dude, the Grobber's at your party. I go, I know, isn't that cool? Grobber hanging out. So what can I tell you? Here's what I'll tell you about Les Grobstein. He was known for being a savant when it came to memory. He could remember every play of every sporting event he'd ever been to since the 1960s. His recall, even as an older guy, he was 69, but not that old. That's not old enough to just be found dead. His ability to tell you what the pitch count was in a 1974 Cubs game against the Cincinnati Reds. And then you look it up online, you're like, holy shit, how did Les know that? He was just, here's the other thing about Les. Les was a guy who was, although beloved, he was also mocked endlessly for 50 years. He wasn't a particularly dapper guy. He wore wrinkled shirts and he wore pants with stains on them. And he was a constant presence on Chicago radio. If it was a cool Chicago radio station, at some point, Les was there to sort of be the station punchline. People would pick on him. People would say, I'll give you an example. It would be common to hear somebody go, what the hell is that smell? Do you smell that? And then somebody might say, yeah, Grobstein's here. So he was picked on. He was mocked. He was teased endlessly for 50 years. But what was undeniable was that the guy was good at his job. And that's why he kept getting gigs. The guy was just a hustler. Doing business for 50 years, man. And he's still going on road trips. He's still covering Bulls locker rooms. He did it all. The guy was play-by-play for every third-rate defunct sports league that ever came and went through Chicago. He was quite a thing, man. He was the best thing that I heard written about him today was somebody said Les Grobstein was oh God, what was it now? Basically, the one of a kind thing. But there will never be another personality quite like Les Grobstein. And my close friend Mitch, who was his boss for the last 10, 11 years of his life. Mitch runs the radio station that had him doing live and local sports talk at 4 a.m. every night for the last, he's been doing this for every night for about 12 years now, I guess 11 years, 12 years. But it wasn't so much that they needed that because they were a CBS sports station or an Odyssey sports station or whatever. They would just do what every other sports station in the country does. They just pull something off the bird and you'd have like network sports radio overnight. But my buddy Mitch, I remember asking him, I'm like, wow, why you still got this a couple of years ago? Why you still got this? Why you got less still doing? What's going on here? I mean, that's can't be cost effective. And he's like, he's less. He's like, because I can't stand the idea of less not having a place to do that. So it's like my buddy, and I'm so proud of him now on this day. He just he took the loss. He just made sure that Les had a job when, sports talk radio had changed. It's a young man's game, but he made sure that Les still had a place because, man, there are a lot of grabber heads. There are a lot of people who love I don't know what I'm going to do now. I mean, I can't tell you. Every single night after the show, after I hate watch myself on Pillow Talk, I put on Les Grobstein and I would fall asleep listening to Les Grobstein. It's not sad. It's sad because he was only 69. And I know I'm spending a lot of time. But I like this guy. And I'll tell you what I really like, the love that he is getting. I mean, he's trending in the top 10 on almost every platform. He's got New York sports guys talking about him. He's got LA sports guys talking about him. They are all giving Les Grobstein the tribute that he never really received to his face. Like I said, he was a funny, quirky, mercurial guy. He was somebody that was easy to pick on, and he never fought back. He always took it. I used to get protective of him. I used to get angry. There is a sports talk show that I listen to that's on the station that Les is on, and it's helmed by a couple of young guys in their 30s. Well, one guy's in his 40s, maybe he's even 50 now, but whatever. They are younger guys, and they used to make fun of him all the time. I guess they would say today lovingly, but I used to listen to some of this shit and I'd be like, you put some respect on that man's name, kid. How dare you? You wish that you could have just 1/100th the career that dude strung together in his hometown, his entire life. He never left. He was here. He was a constant. So it's nice to see him trending, and it's just nice to see everybody talking about, wow, what a loss that is. What a crazy, great, interesting, weird, but top tier sports guy he was. I'll give you an example. His memory is crazy. So I worked with Les in the mid-90s, and we used to sit in the newsroom. There was one big newsroom. I used to sit in the newsroom, and he would be in there. I don't even know when he was working, whatever. He was stringing, whenever he wasn't out doing some sports reporting or something. He was in the newsroom. And we used to sit there and we used to argue about Cubs and White Sox because he was a Cubs fan, although he, pretended like he was both because he had to. And I think on some level he was both. But I used to wear a Sox hat, and then he'd tell me, the White Sox, and he'd go into this whole thing and we'd go back and forth. And anyway, he was a funny guy. I'm sorry, my thoughts are getting a little scattered now because so many things are coming in. But I'll give you this example, an example of his memory. So about 10 years ago now, after not having seen Les in probably 15, I was at an event, and Les was there. And I was there with my friend Mitch, who was Les's boss. And we walked up to Les, and I was standing there. And, I was just a producer, and he was the grabber. He's like a real, 25 years ago, he was a real established sports personality, the grabber. And I was just some producer that he spent maybe 2 or 3 years working with. And, you just, like teachers, you don't expect them to remember you because there've just been so many, what's so special about me that he would remember me? So we walk up with Mitch, and Grobstein turns around, and he starts talking to his boss a little bit. And then he looks at me and he goes, Pugsley, how are you? Now I look very different than what I did then. I was shocked. I mean, I think even Mitch would probably prepared himself to go, Les, you remember Pugs? He used to, blah, blah. Didn't even have to do that. This guy's memory was a steel trap. He's like, so how you doing? What's happening with you now? And he was just so friendly. So friendly. Such a weird guy too. Friendly, but he'd argue with you. Like he lived for the sports debate. And his overnight show was just filled with some of the most. I can't wait to listen to what they do tonight. I would, here's what I would do. And please, what am I? I can't. Here's what I would do. I would get as many members of the Score Sports Radio staff that is willing to do this to come on and do his shift tonight and just talk about him and just let his callers, the whack job callers who have been calling into his overnight sports radio show for the past 12 years, just let them in, let them talk. And his callers were an equal mix of really old Chicago sports radio listeners, like 70, 75, 80, 90-year-old men calling in going, Les, guys like you and me, we remember the days of Butkus and Ditka when old Papa Bear wouldn't stand for any of this. You used to get a lot of that in the call-in show, which was funny. And then every other caller was some stoned young guy just fucking with him. Just fucking with him. Callers would call in and say things that were so absolutely preposterous. Trolling. They would troll him. They would just say things that were so absolutely preposterous. And Les he would take the troll, but he didn't seem, even if he did know it was a troll, Les would see it as an opportunity to just go off on one of his rants. Just start, I can't believe how stupid you are. I can't, just. So there you go. So Les Grobstein is trending. And I would have everybody. I would have all of the bigwigs at the Score Sports Radio. I would have them man his shift tonight together. Just do like a big appreciation thing. I don't know if that's going to happen. But certainly that radio station all day long has been nothing but dedicated to the Grobber. So if you got the Audacity app and you're so inclined to hear about a crazy mercurial guy, Les Grobstein. So he's dead. We don't know how. He'd been sick for a little bit, but not anything I thought was all that serious. Okay, moving on. Les Grobstein passed away, 69 years old, found dead this weekend at his home in Chicago. Man, I don't even know if there's going to be a live and local sports show now. I don't know how you do that at the Score. All right. Anyway, Mike Tyson is trending. We got more sports trending. Mike Tyson is trending. Why? Well, because he's going to fight Jake Paul. Apparently this looks like it's going to be a thing. Excuse me. Oh my God. Like I said, I went off my diet yesterday and now my body is going, hey, this is not the good food you've been giving us for the last 2 weeks. Let's pull this up. Let's see why Mike Tyson is trending. Well, I told you, because he's agreed to fight Jake Paul. Ugh, Jake, the birthday boy, Paul. Let's see. Mike Tyson in advanced talks with Jake Paul about a 36 million pound, this is from a British paper, fight after verbally agreeing to the deal despite a 30-year age gap. Mike Tyson is in advanced talks with YouTuber Jake Paul about a big money exhibition fight in Las Vegas. Tyson and Paul's reps are thrashing out plans for a headline pay-per-view bout later this year. Let's see what else it says. A fight with Jake's brother Logan had long been rumored for Tyson, but it appears the boxing legend would prefer to face his sibling instead. One Vegas source, who counts Tyson as a business associate, confirmed that if all goes according to plan, the fight will be on. The source said Mike and Jake are on board for an exhibition bout in Las Vegas. I don't know what the distinction here. What is the difference going to be in an exhibition bout? Mike Tyson is like 60 years old. Does he need the money? He might. Mike might need the money. Mike's a well-branded individual who could probably make X amount of dollars every year for the rest of his life, no matter what, just because he's Mike Tyson. Even in the worst case scenario, he could travel the country doing car dealership openings and make, $500,000 a year. But I think Mike's got deeper tastes than that. I think Mike has tigers and shit. That I don't know that you can keep a bunch of tigers on your property for $500,000. So if Mike is doing this for the money, whatever, begrudge no man their pursuits. But Jesus, man, If Mike Tyson, of course, we all want to see Mike Tyson tune up Jake Paul. We just want to see it. We want to see one of those body shots just cripple him. And I would imagine, having seen recent work of Mike Tyson on a body bag, he's going to destroy Jake Paul's insides. Jake Paul has never fought a real boxer. Even he's 60 years old. He's still Mike Tyson. I don't know, but God, could you imagine if Jake Paul somehow manages to win, or if Jake Paul, it'll be insufferable. I can't handle it. So that's why Mike Tyson is trending today. Jake Paul is also trending today, but we won't talk about him. It's his birthday. Colleyville is still trending. We should talk about this a little bit. The situation that occurred in Colleyville, just a couple of miles from here. On Saturday, it was a crazy British national Muslim extremist went into the Beth Israel congregation synagogue there in Colleyville on Saturday and held 4 people, including the rabbi, held 4 people, including the rabbi, hostage for almost 12 hours. I remember when it popped up on Twitter, I was like, this is not going to end well. But all things considered, it did. It ended well. It was a standoff, like I said, for about 12 hours. At that point, you got to think there's got to be hope here, because he's talking to the negotiators, the FBI, the ATF, local police, state police, all of them were on the scene. And he let someone go. He let one of the hostages go at around 5:00 Saturday evening. And then that was a good sign. It's like, okay, so the dude is being reasonable. But I was afraid for the worst. I thought he was just going to kill everybody and then kill himself. But then, I was talking to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine in law enforcement here in Texas. I was DMing with him on Twitter. And he said, this is not going to end as badly as you think it is. And I'm like, why? He's like, because these guys don't play. And as long as they got him on the phone, and as long as they know that he's there, if he hasn't killed everybody already, then this is more of a point that he's trying to make than anything else. And basically it was, these are Texas law enforcement. They're going to take this MFer down. They're going to get him. They're going to go in there and they're going to get him. And that's exactly what they did. They attacked after 12 hours, 10 and a half hours maybe. I don't know. It seemed like it was going on forever. They attacked with flashbangs, and a tactical team went inside, freed all of the hostages without any injury, and they put this guy down. So ended as well as it possibly could have. He was demanding the release for about 8 or 9 hours of this standoff. It was being reported by ABC News and a couple of other blue check news organizations. It was being reported that he was the brother of Lady Al-Qaeda, a famous woman being held in Fort Worth at what used to be the Carswell Air Force Base. Now they call it something else, Naval Training Center, Tactical Air Base, something. But she's being held there. She was convicted of trying to kill American service members in Afghanistan. She's been linked to ISIS. Her nickname is Lady Al-Qaeda. She's an American-educated Pakistani woman, but she's educated at Brandeis and MIT. She's a neuroscientist, a very smart woman. She got hooked up over there. She was one of them, FBI's 10 most wanted terror suspects. She was convicted, I think it was in 2010. She's been serving out, I don't know, the rest of her life. And it was reported that this was her brother, that her brother had taken the hostages at the synagogue and that he was demanding her release, which is a non-starter. I mean, when that was his demand, I'm like, well, this ain't going to go well, because they are not going to release Lady Al-Qaeda. That is not an option in this whole thing. But it turned out it wasn't her brother. It wasn't her brother. It was somebody else. But, social media gets out there, and so her brother was named. Her brother is now making statements saying that the family does not condone these actions. They are working within legal parameters to get his sister freed. And this was certainly not any action that was put together by the family. So there you go. But the brother, for about 8 hours of this thing, was being dragged as the person responsible, when it turned out to be a different guy. So good news, good ending. Colleyville, as good as we could have expected. Terrible situation to have to deal with for a long Saturday afternoon, a cold Saturday afternoon. It was cold here too. ended about as well as could have been expected. Also, Cowboys. How about them Womp, 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 womp. Cowboys are trending. Dak is trending. So what do we want to do about that? Look, I've got thoughts. We'll probably talk about it at length tonight on Pillow Talk. I know that James Parker, a lifelong diehard Cowboy fan, he's all up in arms. He was upset that we couldn't do the live show yesterday. So, we're all... I mean, what can you say, man? I mean, I don't know what to say. Well, I will have something to say tonight, but here's an aspect of it that I suppose is trending. Dak is trending. Dak is taking a lot of crap. Now, I like Dak. Dak, I think, is one of the great gentlemen of the sport in this day and age. What did he do? Well, he did something that's not exactly gentlemanly. He's being criticized because if you saw the video, as the players were coming off the field and into the tunnel after yesterday's loss to the 49ers, the fans, keep it classy, Dallas. The Dallas Cowboy fans began throwing objects into the tunnel where the players and the referees and coaches and field staff and all that stuff were coming off. And in his post-game press conference, Dak Prescott was asked about the fans throwing bottles, and Dak believed in that moment that the players were being targeted, and he took after the fans. It's classless, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe they would do that. We're out there giving everything we got. And then a sports reporter corrected him and said, well, Dak, it is believed that the targets of the objects being thrown were the referees. At which point, Dak made a complete 180 and said, well, then all credit to the fans. And now Dak is being criticized for that. I'm sure he wants to take it back. I'm sure that he doesn't want to be on record. It's just not a smart move. First of all, the Cowboys are already, a lot believe, targeted by referees because of things that they've said, things that they've done. Personally, and we'll get into this in the Pillow Talk edition tonight, I don't know that they're being targeted so much as they are the most undisciplined team I have ever seen. For a team that appears on paper to be absolutely loaded with talent, this freaking team does a lot of stupid shit. I don't know if that's the players. I don't know if that's just the general ambiance of being a Cowboy player. I don't know if it has to do with the coaching staff, but it cannot be denied. The Dallas Cowboys are the most penalized team in the NFL this year, and yesterday it was penalties that killed them. Now, I've said that as a baseball fan, I always say there is no mileage to be gained out of blaming the umpire for calls and strikes. You can't do that. That is just so disingenuous to the sport. Same thing holds for football. This has been an absolutely tragic year for refereeing in the NFL. There have been horseshit calls left and right. Every single team in the league has at some point during this past season... don't even get me started about my Bears. We lost a Monday night football game because a 15-yard penalty for an illegal block was thrown while we were in the red zone about to go ahead. And there was no block. The replay plays it. They were flagged. My guy was flagged for throwing an illegal block when he never even made contact. There was no flag on the play. And yet, it basically ended the hopes of scoring a touchdown to go ahead with less than a minute left in the game. So every single team, whether it's a roughing the passer call, whether it's a phantom call on a defensive pass interference, whatever, it doesn't matter. Referees have had an incredibly shit year. There's the Bengals Raiders game, shit call after shit call. So Dak went up yesterday and in front of the entire media world said that he credits the fans in Dallas for throwing objects at the referees. I am certain that he wish he hadn't said that. I am certain that, I don't know if he made, I'm not sure. I can click on the Dak link and see that if he said anything since then. But that's just not a good look for a team leader to be saying that it's cool or that he gives credit to people who are trying to injure referees. No matter how angry you are, what are you, a child? What are you, an emotional retard? Come on, man. Buck up. This happens to everybody. We have all been screwed by referees this year. We can't start throwing shit from the stands at them. I understand the frustration. I understand being in the moment and letting, your worst angels take over for a bit. But come on. So that's why Dak is trending. He's getting hammered. We'll do more. We got a whole breakdown that we're going to do on tonight's Pillow Talk show. So come back and join us. Josh Whedon, screenwriter, television showrunner, film director, producer. Josh Whedon is trending. He's profiled on the new cover of New York Magazine. And he's trending because he's mean. Because he's mean. Because he said mean things to people. And now everybody's going nuts. Josh Whedon once said that I wasn't a good actor. Well, maybe you're not. He's mean. That's it. That's as far as I can tell. I read the excerpts from the New York Magazine article earlier this morning, and I'm like, and then you got these people that are making these excerpts trend, and they're like, this should not happen. This is a man who should never work in the entertainment industry again. And I'm reading it going, what? Have these people never heard of Orson Welles? Have these people never? I mean, are you kidding me? I have worked for some incredibly mean bosses. I never thought they should never work in the industry again. No, you just think they're a dick. So Josh Whedon is trending. You come to your own conclusions, but my God, just because someone's a dick. James Earl Jones is trending. It's his birthday. That's why he's trending. Luke, I am your father. James Earl Jones trending today. Great American actor. People are showing the love for James Earl Jones. Trying to think. He's just awesome, right? I mean, anytime you see James Earl Jones in a movie, you're like, okay, this is at least he's gonna be. There's something cool about this movie. Savannah James is trending. Savannah James. I did not know this. This is the first time that I've ever come in contact with this. Here, let's. No, I don't want to sign out. You've been signed out. Why am I signed out? Oh, for fudge's sake. Hold on, folks. Sorry. Good Lord. Okay, so this is not. All right, there we go. We're signed in. Savannah James is the wife of LeBron James. I don't think that I'd ever given a thought to LeBron James's wife. I don't think I'd ever seen her before. But she's trending today because apparently she is setting Instagram on fire with her new look. So let's give a look at LeBron James's wife. I had never seen her before. Didn't really know what to expect. But I have to tell you, now that... There we go. Look at her there. Look at LeBron James's wife. She's looking good on the Twitter. She's looking good. She's a very attractive woman. What'd you expect, Pugs? Did you think he was going to be with Kathy Bates? I mean, he's LeBron James for crying out loud. Of course he's got a smoke show wife. So there you go. That's why she's trending. She's a fine-looking woman, and that is one hell of an outfit. She's got like sort of a little ginger thing going with her hair. She's got a beautiful smile. All right. Now, is that his, like, has LeBron, I guess I don't know anything at all about LeBron James' romantic life. I don't, he's not dating a Kardashian. He's not, he's never been one to run around with celebrity. Has he been with her for like 20 years? Is that the little LeBron, the kid, LeBron James' son, who's coming up in the world of basketball? They're saying he's going to be tremendous as well. Is that his mom? Because, man, oh man. All right, Savannah James is her name. Beautiful woman. Speaking of a beautiful woman, Twitter is also celebrating the lovely Joy Taylor today. Joy Taylor is celebrating her 35th birthday. Joy Taylor is the sister of Miami Dolphins great Jason Taylor. She is the co-host to Colin Cowherd on Colin Cowherd's nationally syndicated radio show and video show. And she's also on FS1. She hosts a lot of those shows. I'm not sure which one. Joy Taylor being shown a whole lot of love today over the internets. I love Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor is so attractive. She just does. She is just oh my God. But above and beyond that, she's smart. She takes no shit. She's really aggressive with people. I love Joy Taylor. So I'm glad to see Joy Taylor is trending. Also in sports, okay, we're getting into a bit of a sports run here. Stephen A. Smith is trending. Stephen A. Smith. Why? Because Stephen A. Smith is a piece of crap. I can't stand Stephen A. Smith. The two people who I despise most in national sports media are Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. And I'll be honest with you. I think I like Stephen A. more than I like Skip Bayless. However, that's like saying you like herpes more than you like syphilis. They're both not something that you want, but what the hell? Stephen A. Smith, of course, is from Philadelphia, so he's an Eagles fan, and that, of course, makes him America's foremost cowboy hater. And he's trending because he's doing all kinds of trash. He's talking all kinds of shit. He's been saying all year that the Cowboys suck. He's been saying all year that it just so happened that it worked out for him. The Cowboys do not suck. The Cowboys are a very talented team. The Cowboys also happen to be a very undisciplined team. I'm not so sure about... Pug, shut up! I thought you were going to do a whole segment on Pillow Talk tonight, breaking down the Cowboy game with James Parker. Yeah, I know. All right. But I can't help it. Stephen A. is trending. Now, one of the interesting subthreads of why he's trending mostly because he's just gloating. He's so gloating about the Cowboy loss. But he put out a video last night right after the game ended, and it was just him laughing maniacally in his living room. Doing that whole thing. Just a punk move, to be sure, but Stephen A. is a huge punk, so. But why, one of the reasons that he's taking a lot of garbage it's because dude still has all his Christmas stuff up. It's the middle of January. Stephen A. is making a video from his living room, and he's still got a Christmas tree. He's still got stockings. So people are just mercilessly tearing him apart because he hasn't taken down his Christmas stuff yet. All right. Something else that's interesting that's trending, the hashtag Australia has fallen. This is trending because of the situation with Novak Djokovic, the tennis player, who has, for the last couple of weeks, been going back and forth with the Australian government over, are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated? The Australian Open, one of the major tennis tournaments, is going on. And he has been, first he wasn't allowed to be in the Australian Open. Then he was allowed to be in the Australian Open. And now he's being deported from the country, so he can't be in the Australian Open. And the hashtag Australia has fallen because for some reason, this has nothing to... notice I haven't even mentioned the reason why. I'm not going there. But Novak Djokovic is a dick. He's always been a dick. He's an asshole person. The stories about him before this particular situation, have not been good. He's not very well liked. He's an arrogant jerk. He's not a nice guy. He's a dick. So, this whole idea that, there is now a whole group of people who are saying that he's a hero and all this stuff. It's like, this guy is a well-known a-hole. This guy is not a cool guy. Stop it. This is not the guy. Albert in the chat room, he says they are not the Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson team that they used to be, talking about the Cowboys. They were focused and disciplined more, especially when Landry was the coach. Well, Albert, and I don't want to give away much of what I'll be talking about on tonight's Pillow Talk. However, Tom Landry did not have Jerry Jones. Tom Landry did not have an owner who on Monday after a loss would come and sit in the coach's office, put his feet up on the desk like he owned the place, because he does, and then start barking out everything that was wrong. Jerry Jones has a lot to do with the overall vibe that has infected this team. Well, Pugs, Jimmy Johnson, he played under Jerry Jones. Yeah, but it was early stages Jerry Jones. And Jimmy Johnson played with Jerry in college, right? They were buddies. They go way back. There is no way that Jerry Johnson had the kind of mind-effing ability on Jimmy Johnson that he's had on every coach since. Mike McCarthy is scared to death of Jerry Jones. That's obvious. Every coach has been. Bill Parcells didn't like Jerry Jones. That's why he parachuted out of this place. He couldn't take it. But, Tom Landry, the Tom Landry Cowboys, they had Tex. They didn't have Jerry. They didn't have this. Pugs, don't do it. I thought you were going to go on a rant during Pillow Talk. I am. Let's see what else. But Albert, they have all the talent. I mean, they are a talented team, boy. I'll tell you. Can we also just say this, though, about the game? And this is going to be it. I won't say anything more about the Cowboys 49ers game. What a game. I mean, I know it didn't end up the way that we here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex wanted, but what a game, man. I mean, it could be worse. You could be the New England Patriots, who got absolutely humiliated on Saturday night, blown off, just completely decimated. I thought the game was over at halftime. I thought we were like, well, this game's over. And they battled back. They came back. I'll get into it tonight. We're going to talk about it. Ed Helms is trending. Ed Helms, Andy from The Office. I love me some Ed Helms. Ed Helms is so funny. Why is he trending? Because he's got a new show coming out. New show's going to be Peacock. Peacock. Apparently, I got to start watching Peacock. Peacock is NBC's streaming service. And, I'll tell you, NBC kind of sucks. Like, NBC is just like, network television. So boring, so uninspired, just blah. Peacock seems to be where they're putting all their really good things. Seems to be where they're putting all their high priority new shows that I don't watch Peacock. And I haven't watched Peacock for a long time because my thought on Peacock was, well, if NBC sucks and this is their streaming service, the content on their streaming service has got to be even less than what they have on their network platform. But that's not true at all. As it's turning out, all the good stuff, all the cool stuff, all the interesting stuff, all the truly innovative stuff that NBC is producing is going over to the streaming service Peacock, as opposed to sitting there. They're just going to keep doing sitcoms and reboots and bullshit over there on the network. But the Peacock service seems to be good. Ed Helms and Randall Park have a new show. It is called, what's it called? True Story with Ed and Randall. True Story. Ed Helms, first of all, you got to love Ed Helms, right? Ed Helms is so funny. Andy from The Office. True Story with Ed and Randall, in which the hosts hear extraordinary stories from everyday Americans with surprising twists. The series begins streaming exclusively on Peacock beginning on January 20th. Now, this sounds like a podcast to me. This sounds like a really good podcast, but it is true, man. It is absolutely true that every single one of you, I don't care who you are, every single one of you has one incredible story. Now, it's up to you to be able to form that story, to be able to learn how to tell that story, to be able to learn how to tweak that story where it may need to be tweaked. But every single one of us has an absolutely amazing, I've got a bunch of them. I've told them I have a whole cabinet in my brain filled with crazy, balls out, interesting stories. At least they're interesting to me. And I can only imagine this is going to be a good show. True stories. I'll watch it because I love Ed Helms. Just Ed Helms talking to regular everyday people is going to be very entertaining. So there you go. That's why Ed Helms is trending. The show is called True Story. Again, it is a show in which the hosts hear extraordinary stories from everyday Americans with surprising twists along the way. And it doesn't even have to be like, well, I was one of the hostages in Iran. No, it doesn't have to be anything like that. This might be a story about one time when you went to the grocery store and da-da-da happened. It doesn't matter. That doesn't sound like a great story. Well, I just said da-da-da. I didn't fill in the dots. Everybody has a really cool, crazy story where you're like, what? Also trending today, iTunes is trending. Now, this is interesting. Oh, where's the story? Do I not have the damn story? Oh, Pugs, you suck. Okay, hold on. Now I got to find the story because I wanted to pull this up. iTunes is trending because something very strange is happening with iTunes, and that is that a full 1/3 of the 100 songs on the iTunes Hot 100 are old songs. And people are wondering, what the hell is going on here? And then there's a whole bunch of new artists who, hold on, I'll find it for you. Oh, here it is. And then there's a whole bunch of new artists like Adele and The Weeknd and all of that who are barely charting because, Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer is currently number 20 in America. So here's the story. What year is it? Nearly a third of iTunes top 100 songs are taken up by oldies. New releases are not catching on. Nearly a third of today's iTunes top 100 is taken up by oldies, and some are not so golden. The actual number is 28, and that's not just limited to the late, great Ronnie Spector singing Be My Baby. Yeah, she's charting high because she died. There are several tracks from Creedence Clearwater Revival, including Have You Ever Seen the Rain, which is currently at number 17 in America. There are also a few, regrettably, from the late 90s. Nickelback and Three Doors Down are charting in America today on January the 17th, year of our Lord 2022. Nickelback and Three Doors Down. Although, did you read the way the writer put that? There are also a few, regrettably, from the late 90s. Nickelback and Three Doors Down. Regrettably. Remember, that's that bullshit programming that somehow we all have, that Nickelback is the worst band that has ever lived. Regrettably, Nickelback is trending. Oh, yeah? Well, apparently they're not the worst band that there ever was, because they're still trending some 20-something years after they first charted. And stop it. Stop it. Let people like what they like, you pretentious douche. The strangest entry is from the band Edison Lighthouse. Their single, Love Grows Where My Rosemary Goes, from 1970, which at the time was just a one-off bubblegum hit, is also in the top 100. I like that song, though. I like that. That's a good song. That song was used in a movie a number of years ago. And Dumb and Dumber, maybe? Maybe it was in Dumb and Dumber? I don't know. Love grows where my rosemary goes. It's a good song. It's really catchy. So that's on the charts. Also floating around the top 100 are the Police's Every Breath You Take and Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. What's not on the top 100, anything by Jack Antonoff and the Bleachers, despite appearing on Saturday Night Live last night. I wanted to mention that. So Saturday Night Live was terrible this weekend. It was maybe if you like musical theater, you'd have enjoyed it, but there was way too many numbers where they were singing, because the host was the star of West Side Story, and she's a beautiful young woman who can sing. And so a lot of the sketches on Saturday Night Live this weekend were like, let's do a play on Sound of Music. Let's do a play on, it was just like, But the musical guest, I don't remember who the musical guest was supposed to be, but whoever it was, they fell victim to the whole COVID thing. I don't know. So they couldn't. So they had to scratch the musical guest at the last minute, and they went and got Jack Antonoff, who's a producer. He's in a number of really hipster, Brooklyn-centric New York indie bands. And he's a producer. But he's got a side band that he put together called The Bleachers. And The Bleachers were put on Saturday Night Live at the last minute. They said, they were great too, man. That was the best part of Saturday Night Live, was the band. I'm like, who is this band? I mean, I'd heard of Jack Antonoff. I'm unfamiliar with much of his work, but I learned a little bit about him, and I learned that this was a band that he's the only guy in the band. And, he just plays all the instruments, and he produces it and records it and all that kind of stuff. And at the last minute, he was like, okay, I got to put a band together, and we're going to have to play a couple of songs on Saturday Night Live. So we put a band, and they crushed it, man. They were great. They were I looked them up immediately. I was like, who is this band? I like this band. Oh, and their bass player was a girl who I've seen before, because she's a very famous club DJ in New York. And she's also a studio musician. She's been in a number of videos for other people. And I don't even know if she's that great of a bass player, but she is beautiful. Her name is Blue the Tiger. She's a very famous New York City club DJ. She's a 6-foot blonde. She looks like a supermodel, and she plays bass guitar. And her thing, where did I see this? I want to say it was Billions, the TV show Billions, maybe, was the first time I saw. Maybe it was Succession. Anyway, there was a scene where they were in a club, and the DJ was this gorgeous blonde woman, and she's spinning records, but her bit is that she has a giant bass guitar, and she plays bass lines live over the music, and it's really cool. So she was called in to be the bass player on Saturday night. She was awesome, so that was cool. So Bleachers, yeah, I'm gonna be checking it. Me and my son will be getting into the bleachers over the next few days. Let's see. The strangest entries, Edison Lighthouse, floating around the top 100. Okay, so what's not in the top 100? Anything by Jack Antonoff and the Bleachers, despite appearing on Saturday Night Live last Saturday. And despite a new video, Adele's Oh My God is a stiff on the charts. So what's going on here? Is it an iTunes promotion clogging the chart, or a lack of interest in current music, or both? The record-buying public is even rejecting The Weeknd's new single, released just a week ago. His single Sacrifice is stalled at number 80 on the charts. This is shocking. This is a shocking collapse of modern contemporary music. Okay, so there you go. That's why that's trending. That's why iTunes is trending, apparently. Is it something as simple as young people are using other services other than iTunes, and that iTunes is just a service that people my age use? Because, that might be it. It might just be that the people who are using iTunes the most, like there's always these fringe services that are out there, right? Like something that all the cool kids know about. So maybe that's where they're getting their Adele and their Weeknd and all of this other stuff. And people who want to hear Creedence Clearwater Revival, people of a certain age, maybe they go to iTunes. I don't know. Adam is a bit of a music file. He says, yeah, Fun. That's the only band that he was in that I'd heard of, and even they're not that big. Huge fan of his old Handmade. Don't know what that is. And I like Bleachers a lot, but he went way into a Springsteen thing. Yeah, and that's why I like it. He was incredible. I love a horn section mixed with a driving guitar and bass line, and that's what he does. Yeah. Full horn section on Saturday Night Live. I thought that was very cool, especially for a young punk band. Not punk, indie band. It's definitely not punk. All right, let's see what else. Like I said, we can talk about college basketball because that shit's trending, but I ain't going to do that here. So let's see what else is happening. Is anything new trending in the last, because I'm out. That's it. That's everything that was trending. Again, I told you, I spent a good part of the morning talking to people about the late, great Les Grobstein, who passed away today. Chicago sports personality for like 50, 60 years. Young guy too, 69 years old, man. 69 years old. That is young to be just dropping dead, being found in your home. Let's see here. Josh Whedon is still trending. We've got a whole bunch of college basketball trending. Purdue. I'm not going to talk about a Purdue game. No. Cold December is trending. Rod Wave, Why is George Floyd trending? I don't want to go there. Michelle Obama, happy birthday. Ronnie Jackson, he's trending. I didn't want to go into it, but he's a dummy. I don't want to go into it. Coretta Scott King is trending. It's Martin Luther King Day, and there's my boy. There's Les. Les is still trending all these hours later. Les Grobstein. Good for you, Les. I'm glad people are taking notice. Australia has fallen. Cadillac trivia. All right, let's see. Let's pop over and see what else we got. Let's check the Google Trends. I always go to Twitter first because Twitter's always pulled up, so it's just easier to access. All I got to do is just hit trends, and I can see what's happening. But here, let's see what's happening with the Googles. Let's see what people are looking for on Google. Number 1, Illinois Fighting Illini men's basketball versus the Purdue Boilermakers. No way. That's the number 1 thing on Google. New York Knicks, Charlotte Hornets. There's a bunch of NBA games this afternoon, too. Bunch of NBA games, bunch of college basketball games. Buffalo Sabres. See, it's all sports. Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is trending. Maybe they fire him yet. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. When the Cowboys hired Mike McCarthy, I was like, oh, no. Oh, this guy was run out of Green Bay for a reason. And now, look, I am a Chicago Bears fan. Full disclosure, the Mike McCarthy-led Green Bay Packers have made my life hell for you. First it was Mike Holmgren, then it became Mike McCarthy. But there's a difference between Holmgren and McCarthy. McCarthy made a lot. McCarthy was not. I think that Jerry Jones just hired him because he has a Super Bowl and he was a fairly big name coach. And they just thought, well, he's got to be good. People know about him. as a newly minted Cowboy fan, at least in the last 20 years, I can't say that I grew up a Cowboy fan my whole life. Actually, I was a Cowboy hater most of my life until I moved here. But as a newly minted Cowboy fan, having had the close relationship with the coaching career of Mike McCarthy, Green Bay is not that far from Chicago. They are our arch rival. I was like, nope, that is not a great hire. That there is a reason but hey, Jerry wanted a guy. Mike McCarthy was a brand name, so he went and got him. I wonder if he's going to get fired. I wonder, do you do that after one season? Do you blow out a guy like Mike McCarthy? And then no, but please don't hire him, because I do not need, my Bears need a head coach, and I do not now need the Cowboys getting into that whole mess. There's already a whole bunch of teams we're competing with for the best possible coach out there. I don't want the Cowboys to enter the room. I don't need them looking for a coach. After 3 blowouts, 1 legitimately close game, and another that will be remembered for a series of Mike McCarthy blunders, Wild Card weekend is almost in the books, and there's plenty to learn from what transpired. See, that's what sucks about tonight's pillow talk, because we're going to do some Cowboy talk and all that stuff. But as I said, I'm rooting for the Cardinals. I am now a Cardinal fan. I've always been a bit of a Cardinal fan. The Cardinals, of course, were the South Side team in Chicago for a lot of years. Not when I was alive. They were in St. Louis my whole life. But, my dad was a Cardinal fan. My grandpa was a Cardinal fan. They switched over to the Bears once, they moved out of town. But, still, I have this family sort of connection to the Cardinal brand. And I've, you always pull for them because they suck. Because they had the worst owner. They suck. Didn't matter where they were. Didn't matter if they were in Phoenix. Didn't matter if they were in St. Louis. They suck. So now that they're finally good, and I love Kyler Murray. I think he's just such a great kid. I love that dude. I find myself rooting for him again, and I find myself sort of doing it in a way that honors the men who came before me in my family, who were Cardinal fans. So tonight's game is going to be on while we do our pillow talk, and that's going to be a real problem for me because I'm going to have the game on and I'm probably going to be distracted by it. Let's see here. Remembering more for stunning moments of incompetence than football that was played, referee Jerome Boger and his crew already have been dismissed from the playoffs after making a mockery of, that's what I was talking about, that Bengals-Raiders game. That was nuts. And Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy got himself and his team sent home Sunday after a genuinely impressive array of F-ups. Overall, the football was bad unless you're a Bengals fan. Okay, and here's the headline. Don't trust Mike McCarthy to manage your team. In theory, McCarthy has it pretty easy as head coach of the Cowboys. What? What do you know? He doesn't. He doesn't call plays on either side of the ball. Those jobs belong to Kellen Moore on offense and Dan Quinn on defense, nor does he have team-building responsibilities. So any positive personnel moves are the product of Jerry Jones and his front office. All McCarthy really has to do is avoid significant game mismanagement, and he can say that he's done his job well. Let's see. Okay, everybody's just taking shots at Mike McCarthy. Boy, I can't believe that game. I can't believe that game ended. I can't believe the way the game ended. Again, we're going to talk about it tonight. We'll get into it tonight. Just yikes. All right, so McCarthy is trending. I said yesterday after the game, I put out there on Twitter, I'm like, who should I listen to? Give me a good stream. Give me a good local show. A lot of people were like, listen to the ticket. Listen to the ticket. I was looking for some post-game analysis on the local level about the Cowboys game. And I already knew about the ticket. I love the ticket. I knew that was an option. I think it was Donovan and Corby, whoever it was that were doing the post-game show. But I was looking for some flamethrowers. I was looking for some local guys that were doing live streams. That's what I was looking for. I don't need the big corporate bullshit. I'm looking for people who are spitting hot fire. I want to hear people who are passionate, people who are fired up. And you know what I found out yesterday about the Cowboys game? They just crushed the spirit of everybody. It was I guess because it's over. Maybe if this loss had happened 5 weeks ago, there would be some, passion and some real good casting being done. But because it was over, everybody was so sad. Everybody was just like, I ended up listening to Corby and Donovan on the ticket, and there was somebody else there too. I don't mean to. I just don't remember because I was flipping around. And they were just like, it was crickets. It was just like, okay. So that happened. And that sucks. But there was no, I can't believe this happened. We're opening up the phone lines, blah, blah. Maybe callers, maybe fans would have had a little bit more. Oh, and how about the array of pictures, Cowboy fans in the stands that they were showing? Oh, you poor people. A lot of quiet rides home is what I imagined from Arlington. A lot of people sitting in traffic saying absolutely nothing, just silence. Just, we love these games. I didn't check in on my kid. I simply, when the last second ticked off the clock, I just simply texted my kid, "I love you, buddy," and that's it. And then 2 hours later, he texts back, "I love you too, Dad." So I imagine that the 2 hours after the game, him seeing that text, were just him kicking things in his room, crying uncontrolled. That's the worst part, man. You know, I told him this 2 years or a year ago. I said, look, this is what being a fan is all about. You cannot truly call yourself a fan unless you have had your heart and your soul stomped on. You can't. Otherwise, when you win something, it doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. So what? You won. Big deal. It's not about the winning of the title in the moment. It's about all of the bullshit and the pain and the disappointment that you had to endure in the years and years and years leading up to finally getting that trophy. That's why it's such a big deal. And, you know, I got to be honest with you folks, you know, as a kid growing up in Chicago, watching those Cowboy teams of the 1970s and then watching you guys do it again in the 90s, I was extremely jealous. I thought, man, these people have no idea how to appreciate a championship. They just, well, you should, right? I mean, look, I worked for the Bulls. I saw 6 titles. So I was a little bit, you know, but now I've watched Derrick Rose laying on the court with his knee sticking out. I've watched all of the horrible things that have happened in the years since the Bulls won all those titles, but it really does. My kid is 12 years old. This is only his second year of actually watching football. This is only the second year that he's been engaged and, you know, he's reading stuff and he's just crazy about it. This is only 2 years of heartbreak for him. And I don't know that he fully understands that it could easily be another decade. It could easily be another 10 straight years of having your heart absolutely crushed. But the light at the end of the tunnel is they will win again. And when they do, he has my permission to go absolutely balls to the wall insane, because that's why championships mean something, because all the other things hurt so badly and so deeply. But it's getting a bit ridiculous for the Cowboys. It is getting absolutely ridiculous. Whether it's the Dez catch, not catch, whatever. Whether it's Tony Romo not being able to handle, you know, a snap and fumbling it and moving it. Doesn't matter. Year after year after year, the Cowboys. In week 7, Cowboys are going to, remember, wasn't it December? The month of December was always like the worst month for the Cowboys, because no matter first place the whole season, and then they get to December and they don't win a game, but then they sort of put it back together and the playoffs start and you're like, okay, we got over that. And then it's a first round exit. It is getting absolutely insane for the Cowboys. For the Cowboys. You know, I said that for the Cowboys because there is this expectation of Super Bowl trophies and Super Bowl victories for the Cowboys because of how many you have. I'm a Bear fan. We got one in 1985, and every year since 1985 has been an absolute heartbreaker. So please, Cowboy fans, stop it. How about that stadium too? There were a bunch of tweets going around yesterday saying, Jerry Jones, that stadium hates you. That stadium, you're one Boomer Esiason during the halftime set. He said, how you going to build a $1 billion stadium and have it be east and west so that the sun sets in people's eyes? And I'm like, yeah, well, what's that about? Why did Jerry Jones do that? That's pretty smart. If you're going to have the ends opened up, why would you have one end of the stadium opened up so that a game is going on at 5, 6 o'clock, whatever, when the sun sets. Why wouldn't you have thought that through? Like, oh my God, when the sun is setting and we've got that end zone opened up, it's going to be absolutely blinding. But whatever. It's a beautiful stadium, beautiful practice facilities, beautiful uniforms, the whole America's team brand, that whole thing. Yeah, I got nothing else. All right, guys, I think we're going to end it early here. I'm going to jump in. We'll hang out a little bit in the chat room. I'll go through some of the things. Lesser day today. Martin Luther King Day. A lot of people aren't. Oh, wait a second. Oh, we've got some breaking news here. John Hinckley. John Hinckley, who is, of course, the author of our closing theme song, he is tweeting. John Hinckley just tweeted, I'm starting a band. I'm looking for a bass player. Oh, you're looking for a bass player? Might I suggest Blue the Tiger, who is a bass player for hire? I want to see Blue the Tiger playing in, look her up, Blue the Tiger. And that's her real name. She is cool to the bone. That's her birth name. Her birth name is Blue the Tiger. And she's gorgeous. And she's cool. I'm starting a band, John Hinckley says. I'm looking for a bass player, a drummer, and a lead guitarist. If you'd like to be in my band and are serious about this, send bio to... Imagine being rejected by John Hinckley. Imagine that. All right, and then there's a picture of John with his guitar. I'm telling you, man, you produced that stuff up. John Hinckley, you got a little something. I'm telling you. He's not a terrible songwriter. That's like one of my favorite things that my son says now whenever he talks about John Hinckley. And the songs aren't bad. No, they're really not. They are really not bad. They're not. Look, I don't know. You produce them up, you get them in a studio with somebody who's going to add some arrangements. You're going to add some instruments. You make it a little bigger. Maybe you make it a little quieter. I don't know. That's a producer's job. But the bottom line is there's worse music out there than what John Hinckley's been putting out. John Hinckley, of course, America's favorite failed presidential assassin and singer-songwriter. Oh, my God. Sorry, my phone is being a dick to me. Yeah, my phone is totally being a dick to me. Here we go. All right. A little John Hinckley for you. And then I'll come back and we'll go through the chat room. So we'll keep talking. But I got to go check on the dog. Sounds like she's digging something. So here, enjoy John Hinckley. And then I'll come back and we'll do the rest of whatever it is that we do here.
Quest. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. It has been a journey, a multi-answer test. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way.
All right. So baffling to some. Everybody. Whoa. I have got an old guitar. So you musicians out there, you want to join this guy's band? Just hit him up on Twitter. John Hinckley on Twitter. All right, let's just end this here because there's no reason to just let it play out. We're just killing time. All right, it's the backstage portion of today's High Noon where we're going to go through the chats. We're going to see what all you people have up your minds. Let's see here. Sorry, I got to return a bunch of calls to people. A bunch of people called me, give me the bad news about the guy I used to work with who died today, Les Grobstein. We talked. April says the show American Crime Story. We talked about that. April says Michelle Obama is beautiful. She is beautiful. I don't get the people who look at her and go, that's an ugly woman. She looks like a gorilla. You're a racist. That is a very racist observation. She looks nothing like a gorilla. She's a classy, sexy woman. I don't care about the politics. I'm just talking about... Yikes. Reports say she might have a peen. See, Byron, there you go. Byron, there's that piece of shit thing. What the fuck, man? That's dick. Reports are that you don't. April Michelle, coconut rum. She says she likes coconut rum. I'm not a rum fan. I don't know. Whiskey. That's it. Whiskey or vodka. That's about all. Tequila on occasion, but just whiskey. Albert, Kraken spiced rum is awesome. Yeah, well, we all have different things. Byron says, I was on the Bacardi portion of my drinking life in our heyday. Yeah, man, it's too sweet. That's my problem, Byron. I can't. I don't like sweetened alcohol. It's just because that just wrecks you with the hangovers. And you know what? There was a period of time in my life, like when you're young and you first start drinking, hangovers are terrible, right? But you rally and you're okay. You can get through it. But then somewhere around like 25, 26, now you're a pro. Now you've been doing it for a few years. I did not get hangovers. I used to be able to go out and we would do Kelly and I did the radio show. Used to be able to go out, do an appearance, and then wake up early, put a show together, and then come in and do a radio show, not hungover, feeling totally fine. And then here I am now in my later life. I don't drink the way that I used to. I don't really drink at all. I'll have a cocktail, on occasion when we're doing the show, but it's just one, and it's really just for effect. It's just to hold it. I don't have beer in my refrigerator. I don't have a bar. If we're out in a bar and we're hanging out, yeah, I'll drink because I'm not going to be the weird guy. Look, not that if you're out in a bar and you don't drink, you're the weird guy. I will play. I will play with you. I don't do shots anymore. Except on Saturday we did like 10 shots, but that's okay. Here's what I don't do. I don't do childish shots anymore. I'm not going to do a round of butter nipples. No, are you friggin' kidding me? Get that crap out of here. If you were going to do a shot, I will do a shot of straight whiskey. That is it. That is all. Maybe, like I said, I'll do a shot of tequila if we're going to get a little bit fancy, if we're going to be a little bit silly about it. But mostly, don't give me anything red. Don't give me anything fruity. Don't give me anything loaded with sugar. Ugh. Just give me a shot of Irish whiskey if we're doing shots, because seriously, what's the point? Just give me some real alcohol if we're going to do this right. But man, my body does not. It's like, what is this stuff? This stuff hasn't been around here in like 10 years. And now all of a sudden you're forcing me to deal with this on a Sunday morning. Go to the bathroom now. I can't do it anymore. But I'll go out. If we're out in a bar, I'll have a beer with you. I'll have a bunch of beers. Beer ain't drinking. I still maintain that. Beer is not drinking. Let's see here. What else do we have? Rick Bradley suggests I just get some Lysol and just spray people. Yeah. Somehow I probably end up in handcuffs. The world is such a pussy place these days. Byron, that thin crust. I guess we're talking about Little Caesars. Byron, that thin crust is wonderful. It's like a Ritz cracker. Man, it really is. And I hope my admission that the Little Caesars thin crust pizza is very good bodes well for my credibility, because I've spent the last 30 years of my life. I had never had Little Caesars until a couple of weeks ago. And I was stunned by their thin crust pizza. Their standard thin crust pizza is where I come from in pizza terms is known as paper thin, and you have to order it special. You have to see, I want to make the crust paper thin. Theirs is, I love a crispy cracker crust. I love a crust that is really, it crunches when you eat it. The ends are a little bit burnt. There's maybe a little bit of caramelization on there. And that's what Little Caesars does. Now, that's not what Little Caesar does, with their standard pizza. You've got to specifically say that you want their thin crust, because their standard pizza, in my estimation, is still trash. It's still just like school lunchroom pizza. Blah. But their thin is another thing, man. Their thin is a real deal. You get the thing. Here's what you got to do. A Little Caesars, thin crust, extra sauce, extra cheese, pepperoni, mushroom, onion, and green pepper. It's a shockingly good pizza. It's a shockingly good pizza, but you got to trick it up. They don't put enough sauce on it normally, and their sauce isn't that great, but it's okay. It's okay. I can work with it. And their cheese is not really great. Their cheese definitely tastes like bad pizza cheese, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Their vegetables are good. Their green peppers are good. Their mushrooms are good. I stand corrected. I have maligned Little Caesars for years, and I'm telling you, I may have been wrong. However, I will still never eat Domino's, and I will never eat Cece's, and I will never eat Papa John's, and Pizza Hut, although I've had it when I was little, is also trash. Moving on. Let's see here. Tom Beller. Oh, man, I didn't hear that about Les. Yeah. Tom and I grew up together. He knows that Les is a one of a kind. Yeah, but Byron says, you mentioned the guy, and then he kicks it like 3 days later. Dude, that's the old Curse of the Pugs and Kelly show. We had more people. People would come on our show. They would be a guest, and then a week later, they would die. And it's like, what? How does this happen? Every big comedian, up-and-coming comedian, who was a friend of mine, or a friend of ours, their last show was always ours. It was, whether it's Freddy Soto dropped dead, surprisingly. He was so great. He was on the uptrend of his career. He was about to really be something. I don't believe there would be a Carlos Mencia had Freddy Soto survived. If Freddy Soto was alive, he would have been what Carlos Mencia was, but unfortunately we got stuck with Carlos. Mitch Hedberg. We were the last show that Mitch Hedberg did. Mitch Hedberg comes on our show. He hangs out with us. Hey, man, it's great to be here again, blah, blah, blah. Mitch Hedberg was a wonderful guy. He dies. Greg Giraldo, he comes. He does our show. He hangs out with us. He's a regular on the show. All of a sudden, he's found dead in a... Sean Rouse, one of my favorite... Dead. Ralphie May, dead. They all die. It's a legit thing. So me just talking about Les Grobstein the other day on the Pillow Talk show, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not Kelly. Maybe it's my negative influence. If I talk about you, if I sing your praises, if I like you, if you become someone associated with this show, look out, because the angel of death is coming for you. Tom Beller says regarding Les Grobstein, they would bring him on during the day just to start fights with the other personalities. He has been at every major sporting event in America. He really was. How about the great questions he would ask at post-game press conferences? Well, he famously, in the lore of Chicago sports, in 1983, the Cubs had a manager by the name of Lee Elia. And there was a gaggle of print reporters standing around Lee Elia after a particularly bad Cubs daytime loss. And Lee Elia went nuts. I mean, this is a very famous sports rant. Lee Elia went nuts. He tore into the Chicago Cub fans. One of my favorite things that he said is 90% of the American population is out there working in the middle of the day. The other 10% come here. He went nuts. You can't do that. And famously, Les Grobstein recorded that. He was the only guy that wasn't from the print media who was standing around Lee Elia when he went off on his famous rant. And now every time you hear that famous rant, you can go to Google, do it. Google search Lee Elia rant. And that's Les. He's responsible for that. He was at everything. He was at absolutely everything. And I would love, I remember doing this from Dallas when the Blackhawks were winning Stanley Cups. You would watch the post-game press conferences, and I would always go, there's Les! Les is getting a question in. It's very sad. It's very sad because it's unexpected. Now, maybe it's just unexpected to us in the great unwashed, but maybe he was sick. Maybe that was just something that wasn't being talked about. Maybe it was a thing. I don't know. But certainly his passing was a shock to a lot of us who woke up this morning. Rob Barr says the last fight that I watched was Tyson and Evander Holyfield at Tom's house. Yeah, there we go. So Tom Beller talking about Les. Rob Barr comes up from behind. Yeah, I remember that. That was the ear biting fight. We were in Tom's house watching that. April, I didn't watch the interview, but saw the rabbi through a chair and was able to distract the guy and run free. Talking about the Colleyville incident from this past weekend. Albert, they are not the Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson Cowboys that they used to be. Now we talked about that a little bit. Adam Reyna, music and sports. Those are Adam's hot zones. I'll listen to what he has to say on either of those two subjects. Adam says Cowboys kicked themselves in the nuts 20 plus times and almost pulled it out of their ass. They really did. I thought they were going to win. I really did, man. I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, here we go. A little bit of Cowboy magic. They're going to kick an extra point and win this game by 1 point, aren't they? That's what's going to happen. But then the opposite happened. Oh, well. You know, the other thing, I got to tell you, man, I don't even know if I want to say this because maybe I'll save it. I know that the Cowboys are America's team, but you know, the only people who say that are people here. It's the only people that say America's team. Maybe people in the middle of Nebraska, but I mean, all the other major metropolitan areas of this country that have NFL teams go, what are you talking about? America's team. You're not America's team. That's self-branding. That is you. You say that, and then you just, we're all supposed to repeat it? I'll tell you, if there is an America's team, you know who's probably America's team? And it's not going to be the Patriots because they're the evil empire. I know it seems like they would be. And it hurts me to say this, but if there truly is an America's team, it's the Green Bay Packers. It is the Green Bay Packers. They're the team that there are people in every corner of this country who just love the Green Bay Packers. And maybe it's deserved. And you know what? I can let them, as much as I despise the Green Bay Packers being a Chicago Bear fan, I can let the Green Bay Packers have that. Because I've been to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And that is not a place where if you're a pro athlete, you want to live. You do not want to live in Green Bay, Wisconsin if you're making $10 million a year. It is just, it's ridiculous. It is nuts. Green Bay is lovely to vacation in. If you want to spend, when the colors turn in the fall, it is just the most beautiful place in America. It is God's country up there. But it ain't nowhere to live. It ain't nowhere to live if you got money. It ain't nowhere to live if you want to go out to nice restaurants. It ain't nowhere to live if you pro athlete, right? You know, maybe you're single, you want to meet a girl. You ain't meeting anybody in Green Bay. You just got a bunch of big beer drinking overall wearing. That ain't happening. And it's like the only black people in that city play for the Packers. It is a very white place. It is a very heavy set. Wisconsin leads the league every year. No, league. I'm kidding. But they do. What is it? What is it about Wisconsin? What is their claim to fame? Every single year in the United States, they're number one in alcoholism and morbid obesity. It's just not a place to be. So, on that note, they can be America's team because they literally have nothing else going for that metropolitan area. There's nothing else. Again, it is gorgeous. You want to go up for a weekend and you're looking to do some ice fishing or you're looking to do some snowmobiling in the woods. You go to Green Bay. Summertime, you want to go up for a weekend and you want to go do some boating. You want to do some water skiing. You want to do some outdoor woodsy fun. Green Bay, Wisconsin is terrific. Anything else, you're stuck there for more than a week. You're like, holy crap. I mean, it's one of those places where like Applebee's is the fancy restaurant in town. Although there's a lot of places to drink, a lot of taverns, a lot of cool ass taverns. And I have been to a Packer game at Lambeau, and that is truly an experience. That is really a wonderful slice of Americana. But it feels more like a college game. It feels more like a college kind of vibe than a big major city NFL game. So there you go. I'm calling Green Bay Packers America's team. That's it. They have 3 good network shows. Okay, talking about Peacock. They have 3 good network shows this season, plus some coming back. I'm surprised. Talking about NBC, I guess. Adam Reyna, there he is. There's his programming, because Nickelback sucks. Oh, do they? Is that an original thought, Adam? Or did you hear that somewhere? Bill Martin, the Bleachers was worse than Nickelback ever thought about being. Yeah, disagree with that. I don't think Bill Martin and I would have a very enjoyable long car ride, because I don't think we'd like the same kind of music. And I like the Bleachers a lot. He's been Bleachers were the last minute band that filled in on Saturday Night Live, and they were awesome. They were good. I've been listening to Bleachers music for the last 24 hours or so. Only one album, so there's not a whole lot of stuff to choose from, but Albert says, I had to step away for a second, but why would a coach of McCarthy's caliber want to be a part of a team that has an owner that insists of that much control? At this point, you would think that no coach would want to be a part of the Cowboys organization. Jerry needs to get that point. Well, here, I would disagree with you from the outset. A coach of McCarthy's caliber. I do not believe that there is any truly notable caliber to Mike McCarthy's coaching. I think that he got lucky. I think that Mike McCarthy was around with Brett Favre into Aaron Rodgers. Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator currently for the Green Bay Packers. The Chicago Bears are like, we should interview. Nathaniel Hackett would be a good head coach. And I'm like, no, please. Do not give me a guy whose entire career is based on drawn up plays for Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Give me a guy whose entire career is, drawn up plays for Jameis Winston. Give me that. Give me that guy. It's hard to gauge. The Packers were a great team. The Packers front office back then, the Wolf. Oh God. Best GM in all of football. The Packers had a monster team, and they had 2 consecutive Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So stop it. Stop it with the whole Mike McCarthy was a great coach, because I don't think he was. I think he benefited from some great players. And now here we are. And why would Jerry Jones hire him? Because Jerry Jones thinks the Cowboys are America's team. He's obviously gullible. He buys into bullshit. So he thought, hey, Mike McCarthy, we should get him. Oh, God. Never forget when they hired McCarthy, I was like, no, this is a terrible. And what's going to happen now? I hardly think that after the last, yeah, I mean, look, the Cowboys looked good 2 weeks ago against the Eagles' third team, right? So, that was at that point, Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, he's riding high. He's going to take one of these big job openings. What about now? That wasn't an impressive offensive display on Sunday. Dan Quinn got out coached by his old offensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan. I don't know. I think the bloom is off the rose on everybody associated with the Cowboys coaching staff. Did they blow them all out? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm trying to think. Remember, Jerry Jones, okay? Here's something interesting that I've thought about recently. Jerry Jones let offensive coordinator Sean Payton go because Sean Payton wasn't a name, because Sean Payton was just an OC. He stayed with Parcells. Sean Payton didn't get a shot from Jerry Jones because, guys like Mike McCarthy and Wade Phillips do, because they're names. Jerry is a flim-flam, man. And I don't think Jerry can evaluate talent. I think that Jerry just likes a brand name. Oh, Mike McCarthy, I'm going to get him. Bill Parcells. Well, Bill Parcells was a good coach, but those two were never going to get along. I do wonder about the current stock of guys like Kellen Moore and certainly Dan Quinn, especially not just after this game, but there was a lot of times during the season where, again, we'll talk about all this stuff tonight on Pillow Talk. I had to step away for a second. Adam says, I mentioned that there was a quiet and awkward ride home for a lot of Cowboy fans after the game. Imagine the guys. See the guys. The guys wearing the full uniform with the face paint, and they spend hours in the morning doing all this. I mean, just how stupid do you look sitting in traffic after a devastating loss like that, and you're still dressed up like a clown? That's got to be humiliating. Adam says, the ride home from losing in 2017 to the Packers was brutal. We left the stadium as soon as Crosby hits the field goal, and then we beat a tornado watch. They had to keep everyone there in the stadium. April says, Adam, yes. That brutally we paid extra to bump our flight arrival so we could watch that game. Was not worth it. Jeff Glenn says, Little Caesar's thin crust, it's good, and it's a deal. It really is, man. It really is good. It really is a deal. Jeff also says, if I'll drink, me, talking about me, if you'll drink Costco whiskey, you might as well eat Costco pizza. That's true. Cowboys, they're the most watched team in the NFL. Yeah, you know why? Because the network puts them on nationwide game of the week every single week. That's why they're the most watched team in the NFL. It's not like people get to choose what game they watch. The networks put that game on. All part of the brand, Merrick's team. I feel like the Cowboys defense did well enough to win. Offense, and especially the offensive line, got manhandled. Yeah, they really did. They got manhandled. They got manhandled without Bosa for an entire half. That was crazy. If you told me that Bosa was going to go out and not come back for the entire second half, I'd say, well, then obviously that changes everything. That changed nothing. It's like their defense, their edge rush, their push up the middle. It's like it got better. It's like it got better in the second half. Yeah, Adam says, give me Dan Quinn and let Kellen wait. I look, every time I see Kellen Moore, I'm like, what is he, 22 years old? That is a baby. I don't know that guy's ready to take. What do you want another Brandon Staley? You know, Brandon Staley was the God's gift to coaching. He was the new Sean McVay. He was the new guy that every new coach coming in is gonna have to act like Brandon Staley. You know, with the Chargers, that's the guy. And then he completely shits the bed. And now what? Now they're sitting at home. Bloom is off the rose. These young coaches, man, they're getting elevated, and then they're being tagged with this next great coach label. And then, you know, Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur in Green Bay is the greatest young coach in football. Stop it. Again, we're talking about a guy who's got Aaron Rodgers. Stop it. What else do we have here? I feel like the Cowboy. Yeah, we already get that. Give Dan Quinn. Offense, especially young man. Cowboys defense did well. 5 of the top 10 games were Cowboy games and 3 of the top 6. So yes, they're America's team. Again, Adam, that is a disingenuous breakdown of the numbers. They were all national games. The Cowboys play in the game of the week virtually every week. It is absolutely untrue that the American football watching public demand to see the Cowboys. They watch what's on their TVs. That is a very disingenuous argument. All right. I guess that's it. Look at that. Even with the backstage arguments that we just had. Adam, hey, Pugs, you're arguing with Adam Reyna? That's right, 2022. Just like the previous 16 years. We'll be back tonight. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if there's anything new. Nope. Okay. Nothing. Pillow talk tonight. We'll do it at 9:00 Central Time. Me and James Parker be right in the middle of the game. So, we're going to ruin your game watching experience, or you just won't tune in. That's probably more likely. It's probably more likely that you'll just be like, yeah, nah, screw them. So we'll see you tonight. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. God, what a dead day. I'm sorry. I keep looking for something more. Like there's got to be something more that's going on that we can talk about, and there just isn't. All right, see you tonight, 9:00 Central Time for Pillow Talk. James, we got a bunch of stuff we're going to do, but we're going to also break down the Cowboy thing. Thank you, Adam. I know you will. Yeah, you got my back. I always do. All right, bye, everybody. Have a good one.